I think generosity is being willing to give of your resources, whether that's time, money, energy.
I think generosity is something we all have. It's just to a certain extent of how we display it. It's how you give of yourself, whether we're busy, we make sacrifices and choices with our time, whether we find something that's more worthy.
You see a need and you know that you can help meet it, then it's being willing to rise up to that challenge.
My parents, I always saw them put their envelope in the church bowl as it passed by. I saw them put jobs or furthering education, like master's degrees, on hold to give us their time to take us to soccer practices. My parents, who didn't have a lot, but they had enough, were still willing to give and support to everything that was important to them.
I mean, I remember talking very openly about tithing and giving to the church. You know, I was in 2nd or 3rd grade and we were supposed to make a poster to show at church about what tithing meant to us. And that's a very young age to be considering those things, but I think that seeds were being planted regarding generosity at church.
We've been blessed, and we've also had some setbacks with, being furloughed or losing a job, but by writing the check first and living off the rest, it made sure we weren't ever getting out of our habit, so to speak.
It's always a struggle. If you're talking percentage, of course, as your income grows, that means that 10% grows. And it's never not scary to tithe, in my opinion. There's always that step of faith to say, on paper, this is difficult. On paper, this money could go towards a new car or a house project, but we believe that God's gonna provide for us in our needs, even giving this larger amount.
Giving is a very personal thing. I can't see anybody else's situation, but I just know personally from my own situation when I wasn't maybe being a consistent giver, and in my heart, I just knew, come on, you can do you can do more than this. The same thing with time. We make time for the things we want to do, and so when you look back and you binge watched Netflix, all through the weekend, what could you have been doing with that time? So I think it's a real honest assessment to look at what you've been given and not if I only had this and if I only had that. Well, you don't. And so I would just challenge you to pray, see what God is leading you to do, and be bold.
I think that God calls us to where we are in life. He calls us to the communities we're in, the churches we're in. And part of that calling is being willing to be obedient. I feel like, we've been called to Thorn Creek Church, and we want to be a part of what God's doing here. We're willing to take that faith step because we know that the payoff is going to be huge when people are coming to know God more in our community. And when we see our ministries grow, we just want to know that we weren't on the sidelines, that we were part of what was going on.
He's been faithful to us through our ups and our downs, and we just continue to trust him.
Yes, it's scary and it's hard, but it's something that we've persevered in, and we still have room for improvement. Don't get me wrong, but it's something that we're continuing to pursue.